Right, so get this. Today we're diving deep into the story of 7-Eleven Japan.
7-Eleven Japan.
Yeah. You know those convenience stores you see everywhere?
Oh, right, of course. I just never really thought about how a chain, known for Slurpees and big gulps,
Exactly.
became like a cultural thing in Japan.
It's a wild ride, believe me.
Right.
Seriously, it all starts in 1927 in Dallas, Texas.
Dallas.
Yep, with the Southland Ice Company.
Okay, so they sold ice.
Pretty much, yeah. But they also started stocking milk, bread, and eggs, too.
Makes sense, I guess.
Right. And then, get this, they changed their name to Totem Stores.
Totem stores.
I know, right? Apparently, they put totem poles outside their shops.
Totem poles. In Texas.
I know, it's a bizarre marketing strategy, but hey, maybe it worked.
Well, their hours definitely worked, because in 1946, they became 7-Eleven.
7-Eleven, for their hours, 7 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Crazy to think that wasn't normal back then.
I know, right? Now everything's open all the time, 24/7.
True, but back then 7-Eleven was pretty revolutionary.
And by the 70s, they were expanding globally.
Okay, so that's where Japan comes in.
Bingo. In 1973, a Japanese supermarket chain, Ito-Yokado, saw potential in 7-Eleven and got the rights to bring it over.
So were they, hesitant at all? I mean, Japan already had its own stores, right?
Oh, yeah, there's definitely some debate within Ito-Yokado.
Really?
Yeah, some execs were skeptical, wondering if this, American convenience store idea would really work in Japan.
Well, look at it now.
Right. 7-Elevens everywhere in Japan.
True, they really nailed it.
Okay, so the first 7-Eleven in Japan opens in May 1974 in Toyosu, Tokyo.
Okay.
But get this. It wasn't in a super busy downtown spot.
Oh.
It was in a less developed area. Kind of surprising.
You'd think they'd want to be where all the people are.
You'd think so, right? Maybe they were just testing things out.
Makes sense.
Anyway, it was a hit. And just 5 years later, they had 1,000 stores across Japan.
Wow, that's fast.
It really is.
So was it always 24 hours?
Nope, that came a bit later, in 75.
75.
Yeah, as an experiment in Fukushima.
So you're saying Japan's work culture, like long hours and all that, helps shape 7-Eleven?
Oh, absolutely. They saw a need, people working late, needing to grab stuff, and they filled it.
Clever.
But it's not just about the hours.
Right.
7-Eleven Japan, they were incredibly innovative, always coming up with new things.
Like what?
Well, in 1978, they introduced onigiri.
Onigiri, the rice balls.
Yep. But it was the packaging that was genius, keeping the seaweed separate so it stayed crispy.
So smart. Onigiri's perfect for grab and go, but the seaweed gets soggy so easily.
Exactly. And they just kept innovating, adding new services. In 81, parcel delivery. Then in 87, you could pay your utility bills at 7-Eleven.
No way.
It's wild, right? They were always pushing boundaries.
So while 7-Eleven Japan was taking off, what was happening with the American 7-Eleven?
Well, things weren't so rosy.
Oh.
The parent company, Southland Corporation, they hit some hard times in the 80s and 90s.
Like what?
Financial issues, bad decisions. They even filed for bankruptcy in 1990.
What?
And here's the kicker. The Japanese subsidiary, Ito-Yokado, they came to the rescue.
Really?
Yeah, they saw the value in the 7-Eleven brand and stepped in, first taking a majority stake in Southland Corporation.
So the Japanese 7-Eleven saved the American 7-Eleven.
Pretty much.
Mm.
And eventually, Ito-Yokado ended up owning all of it by 2005.
It's like a business version of a superhero movie or something.
Really is. It shows how important it is to understand your market and be willing to adapt.
Totally. The American 7-Eleven was struggling while the Japanese one was thriving by innovating and becoming a part of Japanese life.
It's a wild story, right? And there's so much more to unpack.
I'm hooked. Tell me more. Welcome back to our deep dive into 7-Eleven Japan.
So we saw how 7-Eleven took over Japan.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But just being there isn't enough.
Right, especially in Japan, so competitive.
So how did they thrive? What's their secret?
Well, it's a combination of things.
Okay.
One key factor is their operational efficiency.
Operational efficiency.
Yeah, like their supply chain management is amazing.
A supply chain.
Basically how they get stuff to the stores.
Okay, so how does that make a difference to me as a customer?
Think about it this way. You go to 7-Eleven, you're craving a specific onigiri.
Okay, I do love a good onigiri.
Well, 7-Eleven has the system where fresh products are delivered multiple times a day.
Really?
So they minimize waste, ensure everything's fresh, and can respond to trends quickly.
So I get my onigiri, and it's fresh.
Exactly. And you're more likely to find exactly what you're looking for.
Nice.
And speaking of good stuff, let's talk about their private label brands like 7 Premium.
Oh, yeah, 7 Premium. Those are good.
Right. They really elevated private labels.
They did. It's not just cheap knockoffs.
They focused on quality ingredients, good taste, even the packaging.
It's true. The packaging is nice.
They partnered with top manufacturers, basically making products that can compete with the big brands.
And it worked. I'm totally a fan of 7 Premium.
Me too, but it's not just about the products. 7-Eleven created an ecosystem of convenience around their stores.
An ecosystem.
They've thought of almost everything a customer might need.
So they're not just selling stuff. They're trying to be a part of people's lives.
Exactly. They were pioneers in offering services like bill payments, ticket purchases, all within their stores.
It's true. I do pay my bills at 7-Eleven sometimes.
And then there's 7 Bank, their own bank, with ATMs available 24/7.
It's crazy how much they do.
They even partnered with government agencies so you can get official documents at 7-Eleven.
Wow, I didn't know that.
It's mind-blowing, right? They really understand Japanese consumers.
So with all this success, what's next for 7-Eleven Japan? Can they stay on top?
It's hard to say. Retail is always changing,
True.
but they've consistently adapted and innovated.
They have.
They've invested in technology, data analytics, even sustainability.
So they're not slowing down.
Nope, they're always looking to the future, asking what's next.
What do you think their biggest challenges are?
Well, one challenge is the rise of e-commerce, online shopping.
Yeah, that's a big one.
People have so many choices now. Convenience isn't just about physical stores.
So how can 7-Eleven compete with that?
They're embracing the digital world. They have their own app for ordering, delivery, special deals.
Oh yeah, I've used their app.
They're even trying out cashierless stores for quick pickups.
So they're trying to cover all their bases?
It's ambitious. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
It will, but one thing's for sure, they're not afraid to try new things.
Exactly. They're always looking for ways to stay ahead.
You know, it seems like 7-Eleven's story isn't just about business. It's about understanding Japanese culture.
That's a great point.
They reflect what Japanese society needs and wants.
Absolutely. They've created a sense of community around their stores.
Community.
Yeah, they're more than just places to shop. They're a part of Japanese life.
That's a perfect way to transition to the final part of our deep dive.
Yes.
We've seen their strategies, their innovations, but now let's look at the human element, the social impact of 7-Eleven in Japan.
It's a fascinating story, full of heartwarming moments and a glimpse into Japanese culture.
So stick around, we'll be right back. All right, so we've covered a lot of ground with 7-Eleven Japan.
We have, from ice to, well, icon, right.
Exactly. But now I want to get into something we haven't touched on much.
What's that?
The human side of 7-Eleven, the social impact.
Ah, yeah, that's a big one.
It really is. I mean, think about it. 7-Eleven is practically everywhere in Japan.
It's true. You can't walk far without seeing one.
So what does that mean for people? How does that affect their lives?
Well, for a lot of people, especially in cities, 7-Eleven's not just a store.
It's not.
It's like an extension of their daily routine, a place to grab a quick meal.
Yeah, I can see that.
A spot to meet friends, even a source of support during emergencies.
Speaking of emergencies, I remember hearing about how 7-Eleven stepped up during the 2011 earthquake and tsunami.
Oh, absolutely. They were incredible.
Keeping their stores open, providing supplies, even becoming shelters.
Yeah, it showed their dedication to the community, going above and beyond.
It really did. So beyond emergencies, what are some other ways 7-Eleven has become a part of Japanese society?
Well, for older folks who might live alone, going to 7-Eleven can be a way to socialize.
To socialize.
Yeah. The staff often know their regulars, chat with them, help them out.
It's like a little community hub.
Exactly. And for busy parents, it's a lifesaver. Grabbing dinner, picking up things for the kids.
So it fills those gaps in a fast-paced society.
Right. It's a place where people connect from all walks of life.
It's interesting. I remember feeling overwhelmed when I first visited Japan as a tourist.
Oh, yeah.
But seeing a 7-Eleven, it was strangely comforting, like a familiar landmark.
I get that. And for tourists, it's a great way to try different Japanese snacks and drinks.
It's true. You can get a taste of Japanese culture without having to navigate a fancy restaurant.
Exactly. It's like a mini cultural experience.
And let's not forget the staff. The customer service at 7-Eleven Japan is amazing.
It really is. They're so friendly and helpful.
They go above and beyond helping you find things, giving directions.
It's that Japanese hospitality, that focus on respect.
And it's a big part of why 7-Eleven is so successful in Japan. It's not just transactions. It's about building relationships.
You got it. It's about trust, community, those human connections.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into 7-Eleven Japan, what's the big takeaway?
I think it's that convenience is more than just speed and efficiency.
It's more.
It's about understanding what people need and creating a space that caters to those needs on different levels.
Like 7-Eleven has done in Japan.
Exactly. They've become a symbol of innovation and community, showing what happens when a business really gets a culture.
It's been an incredible journey, from ice to icon.
It really has.
And it just goes to show sometimes the most unexpected paths lead to the most interesting discoveries.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into 7-Eleven Japan.
Until next time.